Hey everybody, welcome back to Money and Music. I am Doc. Today we're going to be listening to some heavy hitters in the finance and music industry.
If you can buy a soda, you can invest.
We own hip hop, but we don't own rap music.
What's the cliche statement? If you hang around 5 rich people, you'll be the 6th.
I listen to his music because he's talking about, hey, how much farther he wants to go.
And I tell people in my business, I turn dreamers into doers.
Hello, welcome back to Money and Music. I am your host, Doc Fuller, and today we have something special for you guys. So we have not only the owner of his own financial accounting firm, his own CPA firm, right? But we have a financial analyst, a gentleman that is young, very young, got his MBA from UNC, Jarell Moton. Jarell, thanks for joining us today.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so where did you fly in from today, Jarell?
North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh?
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So we're of course, we're filming in ATL, right? And I think, what made you want to be a part of the show?
The purpose, the objective. So I'm really into promoting financial literacy for kids. And I feel like that's something, even with my parents, I can say, and then with me, like we just didn't get that type of education growing up. So just the purpose and what the program stands for. Like I love it, man. That's what I live for.
That's what's up. That's what's up. We really appreciate you being here. So as a young boss, right, 31 years old, the owner of your own business, your own CPA, right, Shack Accounting Services, right? How did you even get there? And what is a CPA?
So a CPA is a certified public accountant. So as far as the, I guess the technical stuff, I had to have a master's in accounting, which I did at UNC, so North Carolina. I had to pass 4 different exams, which was crazy. So it was a lot of reading, a lot of books. Mm-hmm. And I mean, really just having, time management, dedication. Like one of the things that really drove me to become a CPA mm-hmm. is the fact that you don't see a lot of people that look like us in the industry. So I felt like that was my opportunity to kind of change the game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting. You said, so what do people look like in your industry?
So it's predominantly a white male industry, mm-hmm. Kind of like older white men. So me being young, like you mentioned, and being Black, you don't typically see a lot of people like me. But I think, like I said, I just want to kind of represent and just show other kids that look like me that it's possible. Like, I mean, anybody can do it. And also, like with the clients that I'm starting to win over, at first it was targeted towards like a certain group, but mm-hmm. now I'm starting to see, as I focus more on the skill and building it up, and then by word of mouth, like I'm actually starting to attract clients that I wasn't even intentionally like trying to target at first. So I feel like, trying to not only get kids that look like me to be motivated, but mm-hmm. also just to show others like different, groups that we can do the work. Like, it's not something that's just limited to older white men.
Yeah. So how did you even get into accounting? Like what made you go that route, and what inspired you?
So my first accounting class was my undergrad at North Carolina State University. Mm-hmm. It's funny because I didn't even get accepted like into North Carolina State. Okay. How you would, I guess, normally get accepted. They put me in some like deferment program. Okay. And it was like a chance for me to kind of find myself and figure out what I wanted to do, but I had to prove that I could actually handle, college coursework. And it just came about, man. It was actually kind of random. Like my mom was just like, "Oh, maybe you should take an accounting course." I wasn't even really thinking about accounting, so I took an accounting course, and it was dope. Like I was good at it, and some of the things they were teaching, I just felt like it was some positive messages that I would be able to pass along to others.
Right. And so, like, besides all that you do in corporate America, right, financial analyst, owning your own CPA accounting firm, right, you're also a philanthropist, right, with your own nonprofit. Tell us a little bit more about what you do on the nonprofit side.
Yep. So we have the Financial Shack, Inc., mm-hmm. Which is a program that targets at-risk youth. And the way that came about is actually really through my wife, man. she's a social worker and she works with the Juvenile Crime Prevention Committee in the Raleigh, North Carolina area.
Okay.
And one day we were just talking, and she was just, saying like, hey, some of these kids that come through, like it would be dope if we could implement some type of program to where, we have like a class for them, and
Right.
then they go through the program. And the purpose of the program is for kids, like they might mess up, stealing something from the mall, something dumb. We do dumb stuff while we're kids sometimes, but instead of them actually having a charge on their record, this is a way to circumvent them actually having anything on their record. So they would come through our program, complete a class.
Wow.
We'll report it back to, the committee, and then and that's it. So really big shout out to my wife on that one, man.
Yeah, and I have my queen at home, Christina, and I think it's important that we have that support and that backbone. How you're juggling multiple things, for somebody that's 18, 21, how can you, knowing what you know now, give them some game to help them navigate? And like, there's so much going on in the world, and they may want to do a little bit of everything. How do you, what does it take to be successful and navigate that when there's like kind of multiple things in your hand?
I think it comes down to really figuring out your why. Like me, I do a lot, and some people will look at it as working. I don't look at it as working because I know my why, and I love my why. And like somebody can look at what I'm doing is just say, oh, you're an accountant, you're doing accountant work. But like I was just sharing with you, it's something deeper than that, for me, that like it's my why. So I would just say, for anybody that's 18, 19, or anybody in general, really just kind of think about your why, like what you're good at, and how I think the most important thing is, when you find your why, it's not about just what makes you feel good, but it's about how you can impact others.
That's dope. That's dope. I love that. I love that. And so when you have that kind of mindset shift, and you have to develop and get there, right? And there's a lot of steps along the way, and there's goals that you have to achieve. Like, what is the importance for you of achieving those goals in the stepwise approach in order to get to the end game?
Yeah. So that's something I wish I would have learned kind of earlier on in the game,
Right.
when we talk about goal setting. But it's something that's real important, and that I found out has been real useful for me, where you have, like you said, it's your end goal could be something that's real big. Like for me, like becoming a CPA, but you have to break your end goal down into smaller goals.
Right.
And when you accomplish those smaller goals, it's like important to award yourself sometimes, and just make sure you're not losing sight of what that end goal is. So I don't know, for me, man, when it comes to like time management and goal setting, more so, like I know you were talking about with the goal setting part, like I just make sure I hold myself accountable, because that's what's just been working for me so far.
Yeah. So we hear about like SMART goals. Can you break down what is a SMART goal?
So a SMART goal, so it has to be specific, right? Like you have to know what you're aiming for. If you don't even define what the goal is, then you really don't know where you're going.
Real
That's
talk.
just like if you're driving, like you don't know where you're driving, you're just gonna keep driving. So it has to be specific, and then it has to be measurable, right? Like you have to set goals where at any time you can kind of check it off the list, so to speak, or say, all right, this is where my progress is so far. Am I meeting my goal at this particular point in time, or am I not? And then let me see, what's the A part of it, man?
Oh, so it's measurable, attainable.
Attainable, right?
Right,
So
right.
yeah, you wanna make sure that the goals you set for yourself, that is realistic. Like me setting a goal a month from now that I want to fly a plane, probably not realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
you want to make sure you don't set yourself up to fail, and that it's attainable. And then you want to make sure it's that it's something that's relevant. So kind of analyzing where today's trends are.
Right.
You want to make sure that it's a goal where, with today's resources, I guess you can say, like it's just something that you can actually do. And then the time constraint. So I feel like that one is probably like the most important, because if you don't never set like a specific time or deadline for yourself,
Yes, indeed.
it's you're just gonna keep pushing it back and back and back. So I make sure with whatever goal I have, it has to have like a time constraint to it.
Yeah, and I think that's something that with my 10-year-old son Dylan, We try to stress that with all the kids, right? But like as you start doing multiple things, like right now, he is a safety patrol guard in the morning, right? But it's elementary school. Shout out to Tildenville. Yeah, shout out to Tildenville. But he's doing the safety patrol, right? But it's just like there's things that he has to do to budget his time, right? And accordingly, he has to check those boxes off. And one of them is that he has to be to school by 8:15 to help with the car riders that for drop off, to helping the kids get out of the car, right? And I think, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in a timely way in order for him to even get to that point. So like, this is money and music, right?
Right.
So as a CPA, as a young boss, masters in business, right? Is there a lyric that inspires you to either help you get to the next level, help you with that Mamba mentality, or just something that really is a financial driver for you when you talk about shifting your mindset?
I would say one lyric that stuck out to me that really it just changed my whole mindset when it came to my finances. It's this guy named Ty for Thought out of North Carolina, and he made a line where it was more like a question, but he was like, how come we spend it before we even get it? And it made me I was in that mindset. Like I remember I would literally already be thinking about when I'm gonna do with like the next upcoming paycheck, like how I'm gonna spend it. You know what I mean? So it's already gone before it even touches my hand. So when I heard that, like it really just had me thinking why do we have that type of mindset? And that's kind of one of the things that drives like the financial shack is just getting kids to change their mindset, because I feel like we've been taught how to be consumers. We weren't really taught, and at least speaking from I'm from North Carolina, so like our school system is just it doesn't really teach kids how to be businessmen or a supplier, whether it's a good or like a or a service.
Shout out to PD Pablo from North Carolina.
There we go.
By the way, North Carolina, born and raised up.
There we go. But yeah, though, so it's just like that line, though. It really it made me switch my mindset of, instead of me thinking about how I'm about to spend my next check, I'm thinking about how I'm about to invest it, or just how I can make that money work for me, basically.
And Kanye, he had a bar that said basically the same thing. He said, I got a problem with spending before I get it.
Yep.
We all self-conscious. I'm just the first to admit it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us are there, right? We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're trying to keep up with the Graham. And we're doing stuff that we don't have the money. We can't afford it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, we can't afford it. Don't try to keep up with somebody else. Do you. Stay focused, and like consistency. Right?
It's funny you say that. That's one of the like titles of a classes we teach is don't keep up with the Joneses, because yeah, like you said, I mean, that's a big driver. And especially nowadays of people ending up in debt or not really being able to save the right way.
Yeah, that's what's up. So Jarell, I'm super excited. 31-year-old with your own CPA, financial analyst, nonprofit owner, philanthropist, giving back to the community. Thank you for joining us, man. I'm looking to stay tuned in to everything that Shack Financial Accounting Services have to offer. And yeah, thanks for joining us, man. I think you dropped some gems, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, indeed.